How are you doing? I know what you guys are thinking when she said Bonya. You were like, who the fuck is about to come on stage? Believe me, every single guy on every dating app also has that same question. I actually hate dating apps with my name because every single time I match with a guy, the first thing they send me is, hey girl. I want a Bonya. And I'm like, yeah, what are you doing on Friday? Anyways. I also have a habit of being ghosted by men. This guy I dated recently said that he had a concussion, and I'm like, that's not true, bro. Like, something a ghost would say. You know what I mean? In fact, I was actually once I was ghosted by a guy who owned a pizza place. He said that he was out for delivery, but he never came. And you know, the funniest thing about being ghosted by a British guy is it always goes something like this. I say laughter and you say laughter. I say after and you say, do you want to go to the afters, mate? Laughter, laughter, after. Let's call the whole thing off. I say, hey, and you say, I say, do you want to go for a drink? And you say, please just answer me. I beg you. I'll do anything. Let's call the whole thing off. But oh, if we call the whole thing off, then we must part. And oh, if we ever part, then I will literally kill myself. So if you ever text me, I'll answer real fast. My anxious attachment will never let this pass. For we know we need each other, so let's never call this whole thing off. Please, never call this whole thing off. So that's the reason why I... Thanks, guys. It's not the reaction I get from the men at all. I don't know why. Every time they ghost me, I sing that song, and then they just never reply. I don't know what's up with that. Speaking of my name, you may be wondering where it's from. It's really strange because my accent does not sound like somebody who would be named Bonya. My parents are actually from a country called Moldova. Anyone ever heard of it? Yeah, that's more of a reaction than I get when I do this joke in the US. Because every time I say Moldova, most Americans come up to me and they're like, oh my God, it must be so nice there this time of year. And I'm like, bro, I'm not talking about the Maldives. Like, I hate to break it to you, but it's not like a nice resort getaway. It's like a third world landlocked country in Eastern Europe that used to be part of the Soviet Union, you know what I mean? My parents immigrated from Moldova to the US in the early 90s, and I was born in the US. So it was kind of like a mindfuck growing up between those two cultures, because like growing up at home, it was very like Soviet mentality. It was like, you don't deserve happiness. It's like you have to work for a life. It's like... And then you go to school in America and your teachers and peers are like, believe in yourself. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not something that you are not. Yeah, I know, it's confusing for me as well. Every day I grew up fighting the Cold War and it was like not a vibe. And it was really hard talking about mental health issues with my parents growing up because every single time I came up to my dad and I was like, Dad, I have anxiety, he would be like, what is anxiety? When I was your age, I came to America with $20 in my pocket. And I'm like, bro, you probably should have just taken more money. Like, bro, it's just like financially irresponsible. Like, you could have just been a bit more wise and taken like at least $50 if you're gonna like move across the whole world. Like the reason I have anxiety. The reason I have anxiety is because you came to this country with $20. Like, He's so hard to impress. He came to visit me in London recently. I work in a really like cool office here in London on the 14th floor with like a sprawling view of London. And I took my dad to the terrace, and he was like, I was like, hey, Dad, look, it's Big Ben. And he was like, okay. He was like, it's not that big. I'm like, that's not the point, bro. My favorite thing about the war in Ukraine is you know how like a lot of these countries made sanctions against Russia when the war started. So like a lot of these big corporations pulled out of Russia. So Russia had to like rename all of these companies, rebrand them. My favorite is the way they renamed Starbucks, which has just become Star Coffee. I think the worst one is the way they renamed McDonald's. McDonald's in Russia is now called Вкусная точка, which literally translates to yummy and period. And it's like, for a country that's like that notoriously homophobic, it's crazy to name a restaurant Yummy and Period. I was actually in Mexico recently. Actually, same as our first act. We were not there at the same time. I was not on the beach with her. I was the sand. I was in Mexico recently. I was in the back of an Uber, and the Uber driver was listening to the news in Spanish, obviously. And instead of having like Trump be dubbed by somebody who speaks Spanish, as it usually does, they AI generated Trump speaking Spanish. And he was literally on the news like, yo estoy muy feliz. Porque yo estoy el mejor presidente de los Estados Unidos. Quite frankly, it was like they didn't translate the quite frankly part. You can't really hear the essence of his voice, is really. How many of you guys like music? I love music, bro. I think music is great. I also just love like reading about music history and stuff, because I think it reveals a lot about the way people have changed through time. I think like men in particular have changed a lot, because like back in the day, they used to write beautiful songs about women they loved like this. Don't go changing to try and please me. You never let me down before. I don't imagine you're too familiar, and I don't see you anymore. He's like, bitch, never change. Like, I love you. Like, just stay the same as you are, like, it's all fine. But then you realize, actually, men haven't changed that much, because this is literally the next line in the song. I don't want clever conversation. I never want to work that hard. I just want someone that I can talk to. Okay, male loneliness epidemic. I want you just the way you are. Bro, like, Billy Joel's been married 4 times. Billy Joel has been married 4 times. I think it's because every time a single one of his wives spoke, he just divorced her. Thanks, guys. I've been Bonya.